who's as adamant about his or her position as I am about mine, whom you think is sharp. Seriously, we know that. And another thing, we heard him say that... Hey sports fans, I'm Larry Elder. Welcome to another edition of And Another Thing. This happens to be edition number 49. Can you believe it? That means we've almost done a year's worth, and so far no one's thrown us out. If you'd like to become an Eldorado, go to LarryElder.com, fill out the form, become an Eldorado, and you'll get a free copy of Michael and Me, my award-winning feature-length documentary where we explore the Second Amendment and where I confront the esteemed director Michael Moore, who did the anti-Second Amendment documentary. Well, I did a pro-Second Amendment documentary, and I confronted him, and 3 times I asked Moore how many Americans use guns every year to defend themselves, and 3 times Moore said, well, you're going to have to get the DVD to find out. Now for edition number 49 of And Another Thing. There are 3 things I want to talk about. The first is room service and Obamacare. The second is mental illness and guns. And the third is Bush lied, people died versus whether Obamacare lied about whether you could keep your plan if you like your plan. The first is this. Just came back from Washington, D.C. I hope you saw it. I sat in for Crossfire. I was a guest host on Crossfire. The thing I love about flying and going to a hotel is I love room service. I love ordering room service, but I've noticed something. Almost every time I order room service, they mess up the order. And I order something always very simple. I order Raisin Bran with extra raisins, a side cup of raisins, 2% milk, dry wheat toast, half a slice of orange juice, a boiled egg, and dry wheat toast. A glass of juice, orange juice, and a glass of cranberry juice. Okay? That's what I order almost every time. And almost every time the order's messed up. Now, this is the private sector where people presumably are going to get fired if they mess things up. I think one can reasonably believe, without sounding demeaning to government employees, that if you're in the public sector, you're far less likely to be fired than if you're in the private sector. And therefore, when you're in the private sector, you're more likely to be a little more efficient. Well, this order still gets messed up. Now, why do I mention that? I would think that ordering dry wheat toast, some bacon, I forgot the bacon, I meant to mention that, the Raisin Bran with extra raisins, 2% milk, a glass of juice, orange juice and cranberry juice, would not get that messed up. It's not that complicated. Can you imagine Obamacare in the hands of government? That's all I have to say. The second thing is about mental illness and guns. We had yet another shooting. This one happened in a mall in New Jersey. Luckily, the shooter didn't shoot anybody or shoot at anybody. He shot in the ceiling. Apparently a troubled young man who basically wanted to commit suicide and apparently turned the fire on himself and killed himself. And he is one in a string of shooters, rampage shooters, who have been treated for mental illness, were under the care of some sort of... John is from Youngstown, Ohio. Youngstown, I used to live in Cleveland, as you well know. With all the speculation on who will be running for president on the Republican side, Christie appears to be the favorite out there. Well, I would say Ted Cruz is probably the favorite among the base, but I'll continue with your question. Since the left has a history of ganging up on people on the right who show some promise, my question to you is, when do you think the destruction of Christie will begin? Well, if you saw the current edition of Time magazine with a side silhouette of Christie and the banner saying, the elephant in the room. Christie is a portly guy. Elephants are big animals. Nudge, nudge, double entendre. He is a elephant, meaning he's a big force. He's also a fat guy. That was kind of a dig, and I think that it was a little insensitive. But of course you're going to find that. John McCain was called Maverick John McCain until he decided to run for president. Then all of a sudden, he switched. He wasn't the same kind of guy that we thought before. He has become a conservative. He's now sold out. That's what they said about him. And they'll say that about Christie or Paul Ryan, or... I hope you enjoyed this small excerpt. If you want to see the full video, got to be an Eldorado. Go to my website, LarryElder.com, log in, fill out the form. It'll cost you about $4.75 a month, or about the price of a mocha frappuccino latte at your favorite coffee house. As you can tell, I don't like coffee. I'm a tea drinker. See you next time.